We knew it was coming, but this morning, hard numbers on how big money from Wall Street is shifting to Mitt Romney. Politico reports that Romney's presidential campaign and the super PAC supporting it are outraising the president among financial sector donors, $37 million to $4.8 million, which brings us to Newt Gingrich, who says he could have won if he could have competed financially and says rich candidates have an advantage.
If you look, for example, at New York, where Mayor Bloomberg spent an extraordinary amount of personal money to buy the mayor's office for the third time, it's very hard to compete with a billionaire if they get to spend all the money they want and the middle-class candidates raising money in $2,500 units. So I think the current system is rigged, frankly, in favor of the wealthy.
Joining me now, Republican strategist and former White House aide in the George H.W. Bush administration, the Reverend Joe Watkins, and MSNBC political analyst, former DNC communications director and columnist for The Hill, Karen Finney. Good morning. Out of breath with all of your titles. It is interesting to me, frankly, that Newt Gingrich, who took $20 million from Sheldon Adelson, is talking about the corrupting power of money. Having said that, is all this money necessary?
It wasn't enough, Chris. That's what it was. It wasn't enough.
And he did get outspent some places. But I guess the question is all of this money in and of itself corrupting? Or let's look at the bright side. It gets more opportunity for the candidates to bring their message to more places.
Well, you've got to get your message out, and the more money you have, the better chance you have of getting your message out and getting it out to the people that you need to get excited to come out and to vote, and also for rapid response, because when the negatives get tossed out there against you, when the candidate on the other side of the aisle says, that you've done something bad, you've got to be able to respond to it quickly, and that's where money comes in. Not having the money to be able to turn around the negatives really hurts.
But you got to raise that money, Karen.
Yeah, you do. Although, let me just say one thing about this corrupting influence of money here, because Newt Gingrich is a perfect example. He got $20 million from Shelley Adelson. Money is not speech, but in that instance, that money overwhelmed and shouted down the voices of Republican primary voters who didn't want Newt Gingrich. I mean, they made it very clear. He kept whining and complaining that it wasn't about getting out his message. I think people were hearing his message loud and clear. They just weren't choosing him. So I think we need to be careful. I mean, Joe's right. To some degree, we need money to get, to do some of the things we do in campaigning, but I think the corrupting influence is part of what we saw exactly from Newt Gingrich, and obviously the changes that we're seeing with Citizens United mean that the race, it's like an arms race, right? I mean, the race for cash.
Yeah, and it's also, we're seeing how much time they're having to spend out there raising that money. We don't even know, frankly, in Mitt Romney's case, because he doesn't, he put it out on his public schedule necessarily, but let me read to you from the New York Times today. Both candidates are spending more time at this point chasing dollars than votes and are scheduling their travel accordingly, meaning they often find themselves in states they are almost sure to win or sure to lose, rather than in those where they most need to persuade the undecided. In that sense, Joe, is there danger in that?
Well, they've got to raise the money. I mean, for the fall campaign, once the conventions end, it's going to be a horse race, and the economy is going to be
stop money raising then?
No, they've got to raise as much money as they can right now to be prepared, because they both have to be worried about the other one raising more money. I mean, President Obama is able to raise a lot of money. He had a big fundraiser last night, actually 3 fundraisers in one in Philadelphia. Raised a lot of money from large givers, from smaller givers, and Mitt Romney knows that in order to compete with President Obama, he's going to have to raise lots and lots of money to get his message out.
But what I have a problem with is Mitt Romney attacking the president for attending fundraisers when he is duplicitous and dishonest in not telling us how he's spending his time.
Well, he did say last night the president needs to get out and talk to the people. That was what Mitt Romney said.
But that's not for. So that I guess I take issue with that coming from Mitt Romney, because he also was criticizing the fact that he was doing 6 fundraisers in a day. Well, guess what? Mitt Romney has a number of private meetings in a given day. We have no idea who he's meeting with. We don't. Hold on. He also won't disclose his largest bundlers, which the president does. He also, his campaign has figured out ways to skirt even the Citizens United. According to the Boston Globe, he attended an event that was for the super PAC, but they skirted the rules by calling him a featured guest. So we need to know more about how he's spending his time.
Well,
if he's going to make that comparison.
Even Newt Gingrich said yesterday that he thinks that people should be able to give as much money as they want, but their name should go up on the internet that night.
Well, that's a thought. Certainly, transparency is always a good thing in this business. You want to be as transparent as possible. So it's a good thing to be transparent.
Mitt Romney doesn't want to be transparent.
Mitt Romney wants to be very transparent, and he knows that it's going to take a lot of work to be able to compete with Barack Obama, who is able to raise money at just an amazing clip.
Well, then why doesn't he release his taxes, and why doesn't he let us know who he's spending his time with, Joe?
All in good time, Karen. All in good time.
Joe Watkins, Karen Finney, my friends, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.